Hello, sports fans. We are ready for NFL picks for week number 2 in the league where they play for pay. And let's get right to it. Coming off a 13-3 week 1. Let me say it again. 13-3 week 1. Show some love. Show some love, 13-3, week number 1. And by the way, for all the haters out there, sorry I didn't go 16-0. Anyway, let's get to week number 2. Let's start up in New England, Foxborough, with the New England Patriots on minus 14.5 against the Miami Dolphins. New England just blasted Pittsburgh. I told you that was going to happen last week. I've been telling you that for years. Pittsburgh goes up to New England and is scared to death. They don't even put up a fight. New England always outcoaches them. That game was atrocious. New England just blasted Pittsburgh. And of course, New England now picks up Antonio Brown. We'll get to him later, but I'm sure he'll be on his best behavior in New England. As far as the Miami Dolphins, they got embarrassed at home by Baltimore, 59-10. A totally unprofessional effort by the Miami Dolphins. Now, you heard all in the preseason when Miami was unloading players that they were tanking. The front office said, no, that's absolutely not true. I'm not saying they're tanking, but I'm saying they're flat out awful. They jettisoned Tannehill out in the offseason. They got Fitzpatrick, who I always thought was a backup quarterback. I mean, I guess they want to be in the hunt for Tua next year with that number 1 pick. I mean, what an unprofessional, disgraceful performance by the Miami Dolphins. You lose 59-10 in the opener at home to Baltimore. And I know Baltimore's a good team, but let's not make the Baltimore offense out to be like the Air Coryell Chargers. I mean, my goodness, that game was over in the first 10 minutes. It was 21-0. That was a despicable effort by the Miami Dolphins. They gave up 60 points in an NFL game. That was like a varsity team playing a JV team. That was disgraceful. I mean, as far as this game, like I said, I'm a 2-team teaser guy. That's me. I use the 6 points. But I know you guys like your 9 points, your 12-point teasers, your super teasers. That's how you got to use this game. I know a 14 teaser, you get 12 points. Maybe use that. You get the line down to 2.5. You use it in your super teasers, your 14 teasers. You can't like Miami no matter how many points you get. They gave up 60 points last week. They lost by 49 points at home. I mean, and New England looks flat out awesome again. They beat the Steelers by 30. Didn't even break a sweat. So to me, this is a 14 teaser game, a super teaser team game. New England picked their score. I know it's a rivalry, no, please. Miami showed me nothing. Nothing. From what I saw last week, Miami's going to be lucky to win 2 games. New England's pick number 1. Pick number 2. Let's go down to Baltimore. The Baltimore Ravens are minus 13 against the Arizona Cardinals. Baltimore, as I mentioned, just laid it on Miami. That game was over early. Jackson, the young quarterback, was awesome. The young receiver was awesome. You know the Ravens are always good on defense. No one does a better job year to year with personnel than Baltimore. They always have a competitive team, and they just blasted Miami. Arizona, this was a strange game. Arizona looked lost against Detroit for a lot of this game. All of a sudden rallied. They tied Detroit. They actually could have won the game in overtime because Stafford almost threw an interception. So what a bizarre game that was. Arizona and Detroit tied. Typical Detroit, by the way. We'll get to them later. But give Arizona credit because they looked dead in the water. The quarterback looked lost. The coach looked like he was clueless. And they came rallying back. So I'm going to give them credit for that. I know some of that is on Detroit, but you got to give Arizona credit for that. Having said that, this is a whole different situation now. Now Arizona with the young quarterback going on the road against that ferocious Raven defense. I think the Ravens are going to eat up Arizona and spit them out. I mean, I really do. Again, the spread is 13. This is another 14 teaser, 12-point game, a super teaser. I know you guys like that. You've had success in the past with your super teasers. That's the way you got to use this game. You go money line here, you're going to risk some crazy amount of money to win 100. Point spread, you don't love it, given 13. To me, is 14 teaser, you get 12 points, move it down to 1, you go from there. That's how I would use this game. But you can't think Arizona is going to win this game. You got to think Baltimore is going to stuff that young quarterback. The way Arizona played in the first half against Detroit last week is how I expect them to play for 4 quarters in this game. I think this will be the Ravens all day. I don't think the Ravens are going to give up many points. I think the Ravens roll. That's pick number 2. Pick number 3. Oh, we got a nice black and blue division rivalry here as we go to the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field. With the Green Bay Packers, a -2.5 against the Minnesota Vikings. Green Bay with an impressive win at Chicago. The defense looked good. Rodgers didn't have to do much, but he made some big plays. But I was really impressed with the Green Bay defense. Wasn't so impressed with the Chicago offense. And Minnesota, they just beat up Atlanta. This was another game that was over early. Minnesota defense just stuffed Atlanta. Minnesota running game got cooking. Cousins didn't even have to do a lot. Matt Ryan threw a couple of picks. Minnesota, tough defense, gritty team, a throwback team, running game, good defense. I wish Minnesota would play outside, by the way. I know they got that shiny new dome. Minnesota's a team that should play outside in the snow. They're rough and tumble like that. They should be out there in the snow, like Green Bay plays out there. I wish Minnesota played out in the snow. They're that type of team. They're tough. They're gritty. This game is very interesting game. The key early season game here. Green Bay 2.5-point favorite. I'm going to move the line to 8.5 and take Minnesota in a 2-team teaser. I think this game is very close. I think it could go either way. I know Green Bay's got a habit of pulling out these games at home, but I think Minnesota's real good. If I can get 8.5 points in this game, I got to think that Minnesota defense is going to, hold Green Bay down a little bit. Chicago held Green Bay to 10 points. I think this is going to be a low-scoring, tough, defensive, gritty, right down to the end game. Must-watch game. I love the game. I'll take Minnesota with the 8.5 and a 2-team teaser. That's pick number 3. Pick number 4. Let's go down to Houston, Texas. With the Houston Texans a -8.5 against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Texans lost an absolute heartbreaker to New Orleans at the end. That was an exciting fourth quarter. Back and forth we went. Saints kick a field goal with no time left. Heartbreaking loss for the Texans. Watson did all he could in that game. Jacksonville, not only did they lose to Kansas City, they lost their quarterback. So all sorts of things going wrong for Jacksonville early. Listen, spread's 8.5. I'm going to take the 6 points and a 2-team teaser, make it 2.5, take Houston. Houston at home, coming off the tough loss. Jacksonville with the backup quarterback. They gave up a lot of points. I got to think Houston is good enough to beat Jacksonville by at least 3. Another key division game early, but I'll take the Texans there in a 2-team teaser. That's pick number 4. Pick number 5, another very interesting game, another must-watch game as we go out to Los Angeles with the LA Rams a -3 against the New Orleans Saints. As I mentioned, the Saints pulled it out against the Texans with the last-second field goal. Rams held on and beat Carolina, winning for a lot of this game. Got close late, but the Rams got the road win. This is a rematch, of course, of the championship game last year with all the controversy down in the Superdome. This game is out in Los Angeles. Rams 3-point favorite. This is a spectacular game. If you got to play this game, I move the line to 9 and take New Orleans, just thinking it's a close game. Impossible to pick a winner either way. Even in the money line, it would be impossible. So to me, if you're going to play this game, you move the line in a 2-team teaser to 9, and you take the Saints. You got to think it's a 1-score game either way. Another must-watch game, a spectacular game. And this game will go a long way to determine who has that home field advantage at the end of the year. And that could be the difference. So this game, very important early. I'll take the Saints there +9. That is pick number 5. Pick number 6. Let's go down to hot Atlanta with the Philadelphia Eagles a -1.5 against the Atlanta Falcons. As I mentioned, Atlanta got crushed by Minnesota. Atlanta's got to start to show me something. I mean, Like I was talking about last week, they were so close to winning the Super Bowl. Atlanta a few years ago had a bad year last year. You wonder if it's starting to go the other way for Atlanta. We thought Atlanta was going to be good for a really, really long time. They had so many good young players. They got the quarterback. They got Julio Jones. The coach looked like he knew what he was doing. Atlanta's starting to go the other way. Now listen, no disgrace losing to Minnesota on the road. Minnesota's a tough team, really good in their building. But Atlanta has got to start to show me something. They got a tough game here. I know it's their home opener, but the Eagles, they're a very good team as well. Eagles beat Washington, fell behind 17-0 early, then went on a big 32-3 run, held on at the end. You know the Eagles are going to be a contender this year as well. This is a very interesting game. You got some really, really good games this week, some must-watch games, some fascinating matchups early in the season. I'm going to move the line to 7.5 and take the Falcons here. I get 7.5 points. I get to home field. Atlanta's got to be desperate coming off the loss. And Philadelphia's in a lot of close, wild games. I said that going back to last year. Every Eagle game seems to come down to the end in some way. I think this game will be no different. So I'll move the line to 7.5 and take Atlanta. Anytime I can get a decent team with points at home and push it even further in a teaser, I'm inclined to do that. So I'll take Atlanta there, and that is pick number 6. Pick number 7. Let's go to Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City, where the Kansas City Chiefs are -9 against the Oakland Raiders. Chiefs, like I said before, beat Jacksonville. They were doing all sorts of good things on offense as usual. They lose Hill for a little bit, so they won't have Hill this week. Raiders stepped up and beat Denver. Were very inspired at home. I had the Raiders last week. I thought they might be, and this was before the whole Antonio Brown situation. But the Raiders really showed some inspiring football there. Now listen, this is a tough act to follow here for the Raiders. Had that nice Monday night win at home, late game on Monday night. Now you got a short week, and you're going into that hornet's nest, your arch rival, the Chiefs. I know Hill's not there, but the Chiefs got plenty of other offensive weapons. This is a tall order for the Raiders. I'd be very impressed if the Raiders were in this game. The spread is 9. I'd like to get this spread down to 8.5 and use it in my 2-team teaser at 2.5. Don't love it at 3. I like to get off those 3-point numbers in my 2-team teasers, so I like 8.5 or lower here. Don't feel confident the other way pushing it up with the Raiders because I'm just not sure how good the Raiders are, and the Chiefs can explode on you at any minute. So I'm going to look for a line that's 8.5. Some places you can even buy that half a point, get it down to 8.5, and then I'll move it to 2.5. At 9, I don't love it as much. So I'm going to look for a spread at 8.5. You got to look around for the right spreads because all different places offer different spreads. You might get a difference of a half a point somewhere, and I know you can buy points as well. So go with the spread that best fits you. I mean, if there's a spread that's 8.5, you love it, jump on it. If 9 is not doing it for you, stay away from the game. So I'm going to look around still this week, see if I can get this spread down 8.5, then move it to 2.5. Take the Chiefs there because I think the Chiefs are going to have a little too much for Oakland. Oakland would show me a lot if they were in this game on a short week. So that is pick number 7. Pick number 8. Oh, here's a real strange game. Let's go to the Motor City in Detroit. The LA Chargers are -3 against the Detroit Lions. Chargers beat Indianapolis in overtime. You know, the Chargers, no Gordon. You know, the safety's out. The Chargers did everything in their power to try and give this game away. Typical Chargers, and they got away from this a little bit last year before they got bombed by New England in the playoffs. The Chargers have a history with Rivers of just giving games away, and they almost did it last week. They were winning the whole game. Rivers has that bad pick in the end zone, and before you know it, the game's in overtime, and you're like, how did this happen? The Chargers have a habit of that. They can get so sloppy. They have a lot of talent, but they just got to finish you off. Detroit, speaking of finishing people off, Detroit was just dominating the game against Arizona, then completely fell apart. We're lucky to actually get a tie because, like I said before, Stafford should have thrown an interception in overtime. It was right in the Arizona guy's hands, and he dropped it, which would have led to a game-winning field goal. So, again, Detroit, they're another one with Stafford. They just always find a way to fumble and bumble. This should be that type of game. Fumbling, bumbling, just mistakes all over the place. I'll move the line to 9 and take Detroit. I get 9 points. I get the home field. Detroit, they got to be angry they blew that game in Arizona. Chargers not at full strength, always in wild games, always coming down to the end. I'll take a shot with Detroit here and 9 at home. That's pick number 8. Pick number 9. Let's go to the Meadowlands in New Jersey. Not too far from here, with the Cleveland Browns a -2 against the New York Football Jets. Talk about two teams that want to forget week 1. Cleveland just got ambushed by Tennessee, and oh, by the way, I had Tennessee last week. They just got demolished by Tennessee. You couldn't have saw that happen. You had to think, even if you like Tennessee, the game was going to be close. So Cleveland fans are like, oh no, here we go again. The bottom's going to drop out. It's only one game though. And then the New York Football Jets have a nice 16-0 lead against Buffalo at home, and you look up and the Jets lost. Typical New York Jets. So here we go. Cleveland a 2-point favorite on the road. I will move the line to 8. I sound repetitive, but I get the Jets with 8 points, and I get the home field against what I think this is two evenly matched teams. Two teams that, coming off a loss. I can't see either one of these teams blowing each other out. So if I can get 8 points and the home field, I'm liking that. So I'll take the Jets there plus 8. Interesting game. One of these teams is going to go 0-2 and start feeling like here we go again. But that's pick number 9. Pick number 10. Let's go to the jungle in Cincinnati. With the Cincinnati Bengals a -1.5 against the San Francisco 49ers. Niners went into Tampa Bay and beat the Bucs. Good road win for the Niners. By the way, not exactly a great schedule for the Niners. They open up in Tampa Bay. You got to go across the country, then go all the way back, then come back to Cincinnati. So not great travel. I know it's not like when me and you travel. They have their, personal planes and everything like that, and not standing in any lines. I get it, but still, tough travel for the first 2 weeks for the Niners. They did get the win in Tampa Bay. Cincinnati lost a heartbreaker to Seattle. Probably deserved better. Left a lot of points on the board. Dalton, I thought, played well. Remember, they're doing this without A.J. Green. I thought the Bengals played very hard. Could have easily beat Seattle. Did a lot of good things. Dalton carved up that Seattle defense. They left a lot of points on the board. This is another strange game. This should be another close game. I'll move the line to 7.5 points and take the 49ers. The game can go either way. It's a flip of the coin game. How would you possibly predict who's going to win this game? So the safe play, move it to 7.5 in a 2-team teaser. Take the Niners and go that way. That's not one of my favorite games of the week, by the way, but that's the way I would go. That's pick number 10. Pick number 11. Let's go to the Mile High City in Denver, where the Chicago Bears are pick 'em with the Denver Broncos. Denver looked atrocious in Oakland. Flacco didn't play well. The defense didn't look all that great. I mean, Denver just did not have a good game on Monday Night Football in the Black Hole. Typical Denver, really. They're a very good home team. They're a spotty road team at best. Chicago, disappointing performance against Green Bay at home, where they scored 3 points and the young quarterback had the bad pick at the end. You hold Green Bay to 10 points in your building, you should win the game. Chicago did not. That's what you worry about with the Bears. They're going to have a great defense. Can they get enough points in a big spot against a good team? And can that young quarterback stay away from the bad turnovers? I talked about it last week, and sure enough, he threw one at the end of the game in the end zone. This game should be like a 16-13 slobber knocker game. Defenses will dominate this game. Points will be at a premium. As I just mentioned, I don't like taking Denver on the road. I do like taking Denver at home. They're historically a very, very good home team up in the Mile High City, the thin air. Teams get tired up there in the fourth quarter. So I will move the line to 6 in a 2-team teaser, and I will take the Broncos. Like I said, I think this is a 16-13 defensive, hard-hitting, slobber knocker type game. That's pick number 11. Pick number 12. Let's go to Nashville, Tennessee, where the Tennessee Titans -3 against the Indianapolis Colts. Colts, of course, lost to the Chargers, showed a lot of grit, a lot of fight. The backup quarterback didn't quit on the game. They came fighting back. They had help from the Chargers, but give the Colts credit. They did battle in that game before losing in overtime. Tennessee, how about them? Just blasted Cleveland. And Cleveland, that's the thing about Tennessee. You just don't know. They have a performance like that, And then who knows about this week? They're so up and down, Tennessee. I want to see some consistency with Tennessee. They have the talent. They have the good young quarterback. They have grit. They have toughness. Got to be more consistent. With Luck being gone and the Colts playing with what I think is a backup quarterback, I would go money line here and take Tennessee. Again, not one of my favorite games, but if I had to pick the game, and it's always tricky taking Tennessee, I think Tennessee, the home opener coming off the big win, is going to have enough to beat the Colts with the backup quarterback, or what I think is a backup quarterback. And I know you could easily be talked into Colts +9 in a two-team teaser, but I think Tennessee is going to win. So I will take the Titans there in the money line. Again, not one of my favorite plays, but that's how I would go there. That's pick number 12. Pick number 13. Let's go back to the Meadowlands in New Jersey. Not too far from here, with the Buffalo Bills are -2.5 against the New York Football Giants. The Giants got absolutely blasted by Dallas. No surprise to me at all. I knew they were going to get bombed by Dallas. The Giants are going to have a long season. Buffalo, as I mentioned before, had the very good comeback win against the New York Jets. Now they go back to the Meadowlands again. Listen, I'll take a shot with the Giants here. I'm not going to take them often, but I'll take them here. I'll move the line to 8.5, and I'll take the Giants as a home opener. Buffalo doesn't score all that many points. If I'm going to ever take the Giants, it'll be the home opener, coming off a loss with 8.5 points. I would think it would be somewhat of a close game, so I'll go Giants there. That's pick number 13. Pick number 14, let's go to the Steel City in Pittsburgh, where the Pittsburgh Steelers are -3.5 against the Seattle Seahawks. Like I said, Seattle held on and beat Cincinnati. Were lucky to win the game. Steelers were absolutely destroyed by New England. What else is new? I think the Steelers are still going to be decent, but the writing is on the wall. They still can't beat New England. They go up to Foxborough and they look lost. Tomlin had a befuddled look on his face. Roethlisberger on the offense awful. Defense got carved up again. Same old Steelers against New England. This is a very strange game. You got Seattle coming across the country off a win that they were lucky to win. You got the Steelers who were just destroyed. Now they're going to be desperate at home. Who knows? I mean, the safe play would be Seattle +9.5. But again, like the Tennessee game, I think Pittsburgh is going to find a way to win this game. I think Pittsburgh at home is going to respond. I think they were embarrassed by what happened in New England. Like I said, Andy Dalton had a field day against that Seattle defense. I think the Steelers will start to get that, offense cooking a little bit. Now, Seattle can get to the quarterback. That will be a problem. But I think if I had to pick this game, money line, Pittsburgh ekes it out. That's how I would go there. Very strange game, though. And again, not one of my top plays, but that's pick number 14. Pick number 15, let's go to Washington, D.C., a classic NFC East rivalry with the Dallas Cowboys. So -5.5 against the Washington Redskins. Washington did some good things early against Philly, then kind of fell apart before losing the game. Dallas just destroyed the Giants. Dallas looks good. They look like a contender. To me, Amari Cooper, I still don't know why the Raiders let him go. To me, he's a number one receiver. He's played like a number one receiver with Dallas, and he makes all the difference on that team because now you have balance. It's just not keen on Elliott. Now you can stretch the field with Cooper. When Dallas got Cooper last year, I thought that was a very, very good move. I think Dallas is a good, solid team. I think they're a contender. I think they're a playoff team. This is a classic rivalry. A very tough decision here. Again, like I said with Tennessee, like I said with Pittsburgh, I think Dallas is better, so I think Dallas is going to win. You could easily talk me into Washington +11.5 in a teaser because of the respect I have for the rivalry. But if you asked me who was going to win, I would say Dallas. I think Dallas is just a little more talented than Washington. Dallas is ready to win now. I don't think Washington is. I know the game's in D.C., but there'll be a lot of Cowboy fans there. Like I said, you could talk me into Washington +11.5 in a teaser, but if you ask me who was going to win, like the Steeler game, like the Tennessee game, I would say Dallas is going to win, so I'd go Dallas there. How about them Cowboys? And pick number 16, the last pick of the day, the Thursday night game, which I cannot stand. The Carolina Panthers at home -6.5 against the Tampa Bay Bucs. Bucs got destroyed by, they didn't get destroyed, but they lost to San Francisco by 14 points. Winston, too many turnovers. The coach is a wild man on the sidelines. He's going for it here. He's not going for it there. They do a lot of wild things, Tampa Bay. Carolina lost a tough game at home to the LA Rams. I'm going to think Carolina is going to respond here. I'm going to move the line to pick them and take Carolina at home. Short week. These Thursday games usually go to the home team. I can't see Carolina losing back-to-back home games in a matter of a few days. Winston's always good for a few picks. The coach of Tampa Bay, like I said, is a wild man on the sidelines. I would go Carolina there. I personally cannot stand Thursday night football. Cannot stand it. You're asking the players to do things they're not used to doing. It's a short week. Tampa Bay, they play on Sunday. You recover Monday. Maybe you put a game plan together Tuesday. You're flying out to Carolina Wednesday. You're in a game Thursday. It's not good, crisp football. It doesn't make for good football. I would do away with Thursday night football. I would keep the 2 Thanksgiving games in Dallas and Detroit. Give those teams some extra rest. Maybe play them back-to-back Thursday night games. Use the bye in there. But I would do away with Thursday night football. I cannot stand it because the quality of play is so poor. You're asking these teams to do things they're not used to doing. You're asking these road teams. I mean, my goodness, like I just said, you play Sunday, you recover Monday, you put a game plan together Tuesday, you're flying out Wednesday, you're in a game Thursday. It just doesn't make for good, solid football. So I hope they do away with Thursday night games. I know some people love it. I can't stand it. So those are your picks for week number 2. Like I said, 13-3 last week, which is just a fabulous week to start off the year. Let's see if I can keep it going. So there you go. You guys are all caught up. You guys are all set. I'll talk to you guys next week. And enjoy the games. Thanks as always for the support. And I'll talk to you soon. Take care.